Back page of the Mail, Pep slams Keane for taking aim at Haaland. What do you make of this dynamic, Jason? It's always interesting for us in the media, isn't it, when ex-players cross over, and typically now in the modern world they have to be opinionated.
Well, they're certainly opinionated, and certainly Roy Keane is opinionated. And I think the thing for managers sometimes is whether or not they choose to respond. I think sometimes they feel that if they do respond, all it does is fuel the story. But at the same time, if somebody says something quite as outrageous as what Roy Keane said about Erling Haaland at the weekend, it probably does need a response from Pep Guardiola. I'm not quite sure anyone agrees with Roy Keane's assessment. I imagine if Roy Keane was on this show now, he might not necessarily double down on that assessment, because it was quite a very sort of odd thing to say about a player as talented as Erling Haaland. I'm sure if you ask Gabriel and William Saliba whether it was like playing against a League Two striker on Sunday, they wouldn't be agreeing with that. They did fantastically well at stopping him, but as we well know, this season, Erling Haaland has had 2, sometimes 3 defenders on him, and yet he is still the Premier League's top goal scorer. He missed almost 2 months of the campaign. So if he's a League Two striker, and I know Roy Keane was only talking about his build-up play, but if he's a League Two striker, then what does it mean for Mo Salah, who's got 16 goals, and Ollie Watkins, who's got 16 goals, and Dominic Solanke? So I think it was a bit of a cheap shot, a bit of a headline-grabbing thing. Guardiola's obviously responded to it. He's fueled it. I mean, I'm sure Roy Keane's delighted with the reaction to it, but it was a bit of a daft thing to say.
Where do you stand on it, Charlie, as well? Guardiola kind of incredulous that players can critique current players because they forget their own mistakes, but they're employed to do a job, aren't they? Is it a case of having opinions but being justifiable? Is that where the line lies?
Yeah, I think Guardiola is being a bit silly there. Everyone is allowed an opinion, and what he said was, excuse me, journalists have an opinion because they've not played, whereas players have, so they should understand how difficult it is. But I mean, that's. I mean, I'm not buying that. Pundits are there, and people want to listen to former players because they know how difficult it is. They know the intricacies of the game. And while I think Keane's comments were a bit stupid to a degree, that people enjoy listening to players talking about. They can put themselves in that position, and Guardiola knows that full well. Knows that well as well. So, and you're not telling me that Guardiola has never listened to pundits in Spain or in England before. So yeah, I wasn't buying his criticism at all.